Shalom Talmidim, Shemot etzem perek daleth. Nouns, lesson 4, singular and plural with vowel changes. Part A, Propretonic reduction. Let's refresh our memory of the endings on a regular noun. Sus would become susim, and susa would become susot. The first of these vowel change patterns that we will look at together is called propretonic reduction. After you have added the plural suffix to a noun, the im or the ot to the end of it, if the propretonic syllable contains kamatz or tsere, the vowel becomes shava. In other words, you add im or ot to the end. Then you count forward 2 syllables, so 2 syllables before the stress, and you see if the syllable contains kamatz or tsere. If it does, then that kamatz or tsere will reduce to shava. Let's look at a few examples together to make things clearer. Let's take the word davar, for instance. Davar is a masculine noun, so if we want to say words, the plural, we add im onto the end. Okay? Now we find that we have 3 syllables. The tonic syllable, the one with the stress, is rim. That's the last syllable of the word. The pretonic is va, and the propretonic, for the moment, is da. Well, we notice that in that propretonic syllable, in the syllable 2 before the accent, there's a kamatz. Now, our rule has said that if you have a kamatz in a propretonic syllable, it's going to become shava. So, instead of having the form davarim, we actually find devarim. Devarim. So one more time, davar plus the plural suffix im now has 3 syllables. In the propretonic syllable, that is 2 before the accent, we have a kamatz, which will reduce to shava, giving us the form devarim. Now let's take the word enav, which means grape. It's also a masculine noun. To make it plural, we add im, and we find that, again, we have 3 syllables. This time, in the propretonic syllable, the syllable 2 before the accent, which is a, we have a tsere. Now, a tsere will also go to shava. But in this case, the guttural consonant ayin prefers a chatef vowel, a composite shava, to a simple shava. So instead of getting just shava, we get chatef patach, enavim, for grapes. The same thing happens with the word navi, prophet. We add the plural suffix, find that we have 3 syllables, and in the propretonic syllable, we have a kamatz, which will reduce to shava. Navi'im, prophets. Now, interestingly, the exact same thing happens in all forms of the feminine equivalent of this word, navi'ah, prophetess. Why? Well, notice, compared to navi, the masculine singular, navi'ah has an extra syllable on the end. So it has 3 syllables, a, the tonic, v, the pretonic, and n, the propretonic. So the singular prophetess, usually used of the wife of a prophet, though occasionally of a woman who was herself a prophet, is nevi'ah, with shava under the nun. And then the plural of this, a, is just replaced with ot, nevi'ot. Now let's look at 1 or 2 things that you might think are exceptions, but they will show us exactly where propretonic reduction happens and where it doesn't. Take the word heichal, which means palace or temple. It's a masculine singular noun, but it takes ot for its plural, which looks like a feminine plural. We'll talk about this in a future video, but some masculine nouns will take oath. Don't worry about that for now. What we're interested in is the vowel up front. Why hasn't this tsere reduced to shava? It's because tsere yod with a vowel letter, with that yod there, it will not reduce to shava. The yod, in effect, keeps the tsere there. So when you have tsere yod in a propretonic syllable, it will not reduce. And now let's look at the word chokmah, wisdom. It's feminine singular, and it takes a regular feminine plural, chokmot. Now you say, but there's a kamatz up front. It didn't reduce. There are two reasons why it didn't reduce. First, this isn't kamatz gadol. This isn't a long A. This is kamatz chatuf, a short O. And kamatz chatuf will not reduce. But also notice, chokmot only has two syllables. Mot is a tonic, and chok is a pretonic. So there's no propretonic syllable here. There's no syllable to before the stress for us to have propretonic reduction. So not every kamatz at the beginning of a word is going to reduce. Just keep your wits about you. Now remember, my advice to you is that you not memorize all of these little rules, but that you familiarize yourself with them so that when you see nouns that have undergone propretonic reduction, it will not confuse you. In general, Hebrew vowels are highly variable when the structure of a word changes. The goal is not necessarily to be able to construct Hebrew plurals and write them out, but is to be able to recognize them when you see them written, and to be able to figure out what the dictionary form, that is, the singular form of the word, would look like. Beseder?